There we go. I think that looks great. Now people can see the chat if I post this on YouTube, so I don't look like I'm talking to myself like an idiot. And I have a thingy thing. We can see if anyone messages. Good. Good. Okay. Good, good, good. Ugh. And I have my little alarm clock over there. That's gonna tell me in 4 hours that I should go to bed. Hello! I see you there. That's not a good eyeball. It's shiny Ryu! It's shiny! I must remember how to draw the faces. Okay. Boop. There we go. No, her bangs need to be lower. I don't know what I'm gonna do about the sound. I'm gonna have to voice the little girl and little boy. They're gonna speak like gibberish English though. Because I don't want there to be any real dialogue. Hey, I said hey to you out loud. What is this? Oh wait, no, okay. I said hey to you. Stop, computer. Out loud. Can you hear me? Maybe no one can hear me, and that's the thing. Oh, you reblogged the link. Thanks. No, I'm pretty sure there's a lag on all ends. I think that's just kind of how streams are. Though I am very impressed. I just moved into my apartment, and you know, at home by now I would have already have dropped 1,000 frames, and now I've only dropped 100 frames, which is really kind of scary. But I can see the lag on the dashboard, because I have the dashboard up on the upper left side of my screen. That's where the comments. That's where the comments are on the. That's where the comments are on screen. Her thumb would go here, so there will be lagging. We be lagging. We be lagging real good. Like a great little party. I got another text message. My friend's supposed to call me, and she's like, "Are you good with the phone call?" It's like, I'd be streaming, but maybe. So, she may call, and you may hear me talking to her over the phone, but not hear her, which was the whole reason I put the comments on the upper left of the video, so people wouldn't think I was crazy, you know, crazier, that thing I kind of try and avoid. Oh well. I gotta remember I have an 8 a.m. in the morning. I'm really excited for it, but also horrified. I don't know if I did my assignment good enough. I think I did. I think I'm overthinking the English class I'm in. The English class is called Foundation for Story, and I'm like a little freaked out about it because I'm not a good writer. I'm just not at all, not even a little bit. Not unless I trick myself into writing. So, and I get really well, I shouldn't say I'm not a good writer. I think I'm a okay writer, but I have a learning, I don't like calling it a learning disability, but I have like dyslexia, and it just makes me nervous to write in a class setting. But I'm taking this class because I want to be good at being a storyteller, because that's a thing I love to do. That's so I'm so excited for screen design. And my teacher is super cool. Her name's Mary Dahl, and I overthought the pre-quarter assignment. We were supposed to introduce ourselves by nominating a hero, and the whole day the whole day Sunday, I was like, because it's my 8 a.m. on Mondays and Wednesdays, and I was just freaking out all day Sunday, like, is it supposed to be a fictional hero, or is it supposed to be a real life hero, or what is it supposed to be? What am I supposed to do? And then I got there and it was like super easy and great. So, anyway. I haven't named these characters yet. I should. Okay, friendo. Okay, friendo. Thank you. You're already gone. I tried. And then it was just me again. And my awful drawing. And I need to make her head bigger. I don't need to spend too much time on it because I'm not supposed to spend too much time on it. But I don't want to make it look bad. I mean, it's already gonna look dumb. Excuse me. That was gross. I apologize. I'm not really sorry because there's no one to be sorry to. Except for the missing audience. They can't be missing if they're not supposed to be here. Shut up, me. I want this to be so good. I want it to be so good. Okay. First time I draw them, they need to be scaled down because they're still far away. Or they're not far away, but they're farther away than this. And I love his little jacket. He's gonna be a little cutie patoot. And I'm just so excited. Ah! I almost dropped my phone. I'm a dumb. I have nothing interesting to say. So, I don't know. If you just enjoy watching people draw, like I enjoy watching people draw, then, cool. If you don't like watching people draw, and you clicked on this for, like, comedy or something, you clicked on the wrong video, because I am not funny. Not on purpose most of the time, anyway. Drawing a little boy. Actually, I don't know how little my own character is. I know I want them to be young, like, not quite old enough for it to be a completely romantic kind of shippy thing at the end, but old enough to have, like, crushes on each other. I want it to be, like, that age group. I don't know. Whenever I think of that age group, I think of, like, between 12 to 16. And then once you hit 16 and 17, that's when people think they're actually in love. And it's like, why be in love when you got the whole rest of your life to do stuff? There are much better things to do with your time. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Blech. Blech. Nothing much. Nothing much at all. I'm working on a class project.
Ooh, what is it? Tell me.
Okay, so, will you talk for a second so they can hear you on the stream? I want to make sure they can hear you even though there's no one watching. Okay, so I don't know how the sound mixing is, but anyway. You want me to share screens with you so you can see me work on it?
Sure. I mean, I'm on a phone, so I don't know if it'll work, but if it will, we're good.
Okay. If it doesn't work, I'll stop, and if it does work, I won't.
Why won't my computer connect? Oh, there it goes.
Let me know if you can see it. If you can, I'll stop.
It looks like it's starting to. It's just not doing it yet.
Well, I just started it, so.
Why am I getting notifications? I don't want them. What the fuck, Corey? Okay, so I have a class that is entirely group-based,
Yeah.
and I want to die. I hate it.
I'm sorry, friend.
It sucks, dude. Oh my god, this isn't the right human. This isn't even the right person. Oh my god, they added some stranger into our freaking group. What? Oh my god, what the fuck?
What's wrong? What happened?
Well, I was looking at the picture and I was like, holy shit, they added the wrong person, and I went in and like somebody did some shitty contour work on her face, and she doesn't even look like herself. It just looks like, imagine if somebody had like the strongest jawline, not jawline, like cheek line on their cheek as possible. Like, so much that it looks like their cheek and the bottom of their jaw are like separated pieces. And I was just like, that's not her. And then I flipped over and I'm like, yep, that's totally her.
That's kind of scary.
It's terrifying. I was like, oh my god, what the fuck? I need to add her as a friend. I've made so many friends, Megan.
I'm so proud of you, friend.
I'm so happy. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? One of them is a really cute Asian girl, and I'm like, oh, I wish she was gay.
Oh my gosh, let me tell you, the first day of class, it was my 8 a.m., the foundation of story, and I was mortified when I got there because I thought I had grabbed a pen and pencil, but I had left them on my bed. So like 10 minutes before class started, I was freaking out because I couldn't find one, and I just kept looking through my bag. And before the teacher, I wanted to do this before the teacher got in, so I wouldn't make a bad impression, and I just turned to the class and I go, does anyone have a pen? And the cutest chick sitting like right diagonal of me turned around with the goofiest fucking smile and just handed me a pen, and I was like, oh my gosh, you're an angel. And we had to like nominate a hero, and when she went up to introduce herself and nominate a hero, hers were like the YouTubers like Markiplier and Jacksepticeye, and I was like, I want to marry you. Stop
No,
being
your
so
wife.
cute.
That's your wife.
I'm very proud of myself. I have gotten every single teacher this quarter to call me Min.
I have like 3 of them calling me Sid, which is interesting. But like, I didn't ask them to do that. They just kind of adopt it. It makes me happy because like I'm the only one they remember. Like,
That,
and
that's a
oh my
very
god,
good
it
thing.
makes me so happy. First day of class, right? We're going through and they're meeting everybody, and like I'm in this class of like 50 other people, like 50, 60, 70 other people, and it's a math class. And the instructor, I was so scared that she wasn't gonna like me and we were gonna be at odds and she was gonna be like Miss Ashley. And I go in, dude, and I thought the first day I was like, first day she's gonna be like Miss Ashley, she's gonna be like Miss Ashley. And like as I've gone, I'm like, holy shit, she's the actual sweetest woman on this entire planet. I love her. She's my favorite teacher. I'm going to take her next year. And I'm like, I never in my life thought I'd ever say, oh my God, I love my math teacher and I want to take as much math as possible from her. I never thought that a math teacher would be my favorite.
Isn't that the cool thing of college?
Yes, like, oh my God. And dude, my English professor, he's a tiny Jewish man. And he's like, he is so cool, and he was like the speaker for our convocation. And he is the coolest dude. Like, his major is in like Victorian literature or something.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Brett. And he's so funny, and I love him to death. But he seems like he's very insecure. Like, he's such a tiny man, and it's kind of funny. But he said, like, I was making a comparison. At one point, he's so small, like, and have you ever seen Wanted?
Maybe.
The one, I think has Angelina Jolie in it and some dude. And if you haven't seen it, if you haven't seen the movie, there's a scene that you've most likely seen on, like, Tumblr or Facebook, and it's where this guy, he goes up and his boss is like standing behind him and she's like, I can't wait to get to your performance review. And she's snapping a stapler. And she's like, bad this, bad that, you know, and she's just teasing him. And he finally gets so fed up with it, he like screams at her and stuff. And I'm like, that seems like the type of guy that my English professor is, though, that like you do too much and he snap real fast.
That's kind of awesome.
He's cool though. I like him. I just worry about being the one who's going to make him snap. I'm like, I don't know why I'd be the one who's going to make him snap, but I feel like I'm going to be the one to make him snap. I'm like, why? Why this? But all of my professors are great. They're so good. Like my political science. And okay, do not tell anybody, but I'm thinking about changing my major a fucking again.
You know I'm streaming and this is going on YouTube, right? Everyone's gonna know because you just said it.
Well, oh shit. But like, I'm taking this political science class, and instead of having to take like a freshman experience course, since I'm an honors student, I take an honors seminar, which is pretty much like a freshman experience course where you still learn shit.
Yeah.
And I'm taking a global health. I'm taking a global health seminar, and the more I take it, the more I'm like, what if I'm supposed to be a politician? Because why do I have such a passion for like politics and global health and stuff like that? Like, I could be a public health and political science major.
You could.
But like, I don't know I don't know if that would make. And I could still go into medical school with that.
Yeah.
Like, and oh my god, dude, that would be so interesting. It's literally my favorite. Oh my god, like, I'm wondering how much like a public health major. Public health majors don't make shit. They don't make any money.
Can you see the thing?
What?
Can you see the thing?
Hold on, wait, let me try this.
If you can't see it, I'm gonna stop sharing screens.
Let me rotate and see if it fixes it. Yeah, I can see it. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
But like, the biggest salary is like 83,000.
Yeah.
Like, so you don't make a lot of money in it. Political science, I know you don't make a lot of money in unless you go into politics. But like they say, you can go into anything and then go into medical school. You can go into art and go into, whoa! Fuck, dude! The median pay of a political scientist is $102,000.
That's pretty awesome. You gonna do it?
Look at that. Projected 10-year growth, 21%. Pretty decent.
You're gonna change your major again.
I don't need to do this. Oh, speaking of changing my major, just like to take you about a little conversation. You know Kay, right? That I've told you about.
Yeah, I've never met him.
Well, I used to like him, and then I realized he's like my dad.
Yeah, you've told me that.
Yep. I was talking to this little bitch the other night, right?
Yeah.
And like, I mean, he could pop in this stream, and I wouldn't give a shit at this point, like, because he really pissed me off when he did this. Like, you know how Dylan and I have been planning a political empire for like ever?
Yeah.
And I've known you and Dylan. Yeah, you'd probably have a seat, like, if you wanted it, like, in my cabinet for, like, education.
I would totally do that, because, that's, like, my only political passion.
Yeah, and that's what I was thinking. I was like, I know you wouldn't like to do politics and you like animation and stuff, but, like, I figured that would be something you'd enjoy. Because you'd get to make an impact in it,
Yeah.
And Dylan's my VP. Dylan's the VP. Dylan's the VP, and I haven't really thought of anybody else. And Kay comes in the other night, and he's like, and I was talking about how, I think, like, right now, because my major is set as computer science right now, and the other option that I've been thinking about is computer engineering, and then going into medicine, because you could do medical technologies and stuff. Biomedical engineering is a field of its own, actually.
The thing Markiplier tried to do?
Yeah, tried to do and then decided, nope. Like, I love math a lot, but, like, I don't know if I like it that much.
That's how I feel. Like, I'm good at math, and I like doing it a little bit, but, like, there comes a point.
Yeah, like, Mesa, her and, like, Mesa she's oh my god, she's this little Muslim girl that I met, and, like, I love her, and she's the best, and she's, like, my best friend, and, like, oh
I thought I was your best friend.
I mean, you know what I mean. I mean, she's not my best friend, but she's, like, the closest friend I've made at UAB so far, and she loves Coldplay. She loves Coldplay just as much as I do, and she's so cute.
Sounds pretty great.
She's great, and I love her, and I'm like, please be my friend. But, she's cool. But she's doing biomedical engineering, and I'm like, maybe I should do biomedical engineering, but at the same time, I'm like, dang, I'm so concerned with the big picture, god damn it. Like, that's one thing that Kay said that was actually kind of right, is he was saying, he was like, you just don't seem like the type who'd be happy doing just working with individual people. Like, working with just individual people as, like, instead of, like, working on a bigger scale. And I'm like, I don't know, I mean, like, there is a side of me, because you know me well enough to know that there's, like, two sides of me. There's the side of me who likes to kind of keep to myself and doesn't like to deal with a lot of people at once. And there's the side of me who's like, I can treat individual people and it's okay, and I'm okay with being around, bigger people. There's two different sides to me, and Kay hadn't even known me for, like, 6 months. And he's up here telling me, oh, this and this, I think this and this and this. Because it's weird, because Kay thinks of me like I'm his best friend. Like, that's the label he's put on our friendship. And I'm like, dude, I haven't even known you for 6 months. I don't even consider you a close friend, let alone a best friend,
Yeah.
And he's sitting in there, and this is the thing that really pissed me off, is I was going through, and I said, he said, I was planning, let's like, the reason this came in is because I said I'm not going to go into political science anymore. And he was like, oh, dang it, I was hoping to be your vice president. And, or he said I was going to, he didn't say I was hoping. He said I was going to be your vice president and then use use your political degree to make up for the fact that I didn't have one, and then run after your terms were over. And I was like, first of all, hell no. Second of all, hell no. Third of all, Dylan's my VP.
And before you would make Kay your VP, you'd make me your VP, even though I don't want to do it.
I would make fucking Satan my VP. Like, Kay's okay, but like, he's fine, but like, he's just so left. I'm not that left. You know, like, there are a lot of leftist, leftist quote unquote policies that I do support, and I think they could be implemented. But you know, he's like full socialism. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Total socialism, and we had an argument the other day about it, and I was like, I just can't do this. I can't do this with him because political views are like a key component in my friendship with people for some reason, and like Kate just didn't have the right ones, and I'm like, tolerate that because all he does is shade at you if you don't have them. But the thing is like he said, I was gonna be your VP, and I was like, sorry. Dylan's my VP, but you can be in my cabinet or something if you want to. No, I said VP spot's already taken, and he said something. He was like, "How dare you give me like consolation cabinet?" And I said, "Dude, I've planned for Dylan to be my VP for years." And he was like, "What did he say? Damn it!" He goes in and he's like, "Shit, what did he say?" He said, "Fuck Dylan. I'll stab him in the leg and fuck the wound."
That sounds like more of a reason to arrest him than to give him a cabinet. Even a cabinet spot.
And I was like, what the fuck, okay? I was like, you underestimate Dylan, first of all. Dylan's a lot more formidable adversary than you give him credit for. And I said, like, you might think you're stabbing him in the leg, but when the smoke clears, it'll be you who stabbed your damn self in the leg after that, you know? And he was like, he doesn't warrant smoke, and I said, that doesn't mean it won't be there. Like, you should, and I was like, you don't have the persuasion skills that Dylan has. And I basically just ragged all over Kay at that point, because I was pissed, because I was like, dude, fucking stop. And, but yeah, I was pissed off, and I was like, I just totally, like, ragged Kay for everything that he lacked in comparison to Dylan. And I was like, when I went back and read the conversation, I was like, damn. It was kind of mean, but at the same time, I was like, he was saying mean shit back, and it wasn't mean shit directed at me, it was mean shit directed at Dylan, because he was like, I'm gonna be your VP, and I'm like, that's my goddamn choice. If you think I'll fucking put you as my VP, you damn wrong, boy. But, oh, I saw the most perfect butt at UAB the other day.
The most perfect fight?
Butt.
Oh.
Yeah, the most perfect butt.
That's much different than the most perfect fight.
Oh my god, it was beautiful. Like, I was leaving class, and I had gone and gotten in my car, and I was pulling out to like turn left onto the road that goes to I-65 so I could go home. And,
Yeah.
Pulling out, and I, got caught at a red light, and going across the crosswalk, there's this girl, and she's wearing these shorts. You know those shorts that I wear that are like the white and black patterned ones?
The ones...
They've got like lace on them?
Yeah.
And they're really blousy?
Yeah.
Yeah, she was wearing those, or something like those, but she was wearing them up so high that like her butt cheeks were peeking out of the bottom of the shorts.
Oh.
And she was walking across crosswalk, and I was like, Sydney, you need to be paying attention to the light, not being gay. But I couldn't help it. The gay just came out anyway. And so I literally sat there and just watched, and I didn't realize she had started crossing the road after, like, the stop sign, the stop walking sign had already come on. And she was going across the road, and I watched her go up the sidewalk, just staring at her butt. And I had never done that to anybody before. And it's not even that I'm a boobs person or a butts person or anything. I just appreciate the human figure, but dude, like, oh my god, like, you know the Fibonacci spiral?
Yeah.
Like, that's supposed to, like, be the most perfect, like, look, like the golden ratio type deal, like the perfect thing. It was like Fibonacci spiral quality, but I was just like, my babe, like, let me love you, and I will love you.
I have that problem all the time, especially if there are cute people in my class that talk to me, and it's like, please don't say anything gay, please don't say anything gay, please don't say anything gay. It's like, hey, I'm Min.
I was like, please don't say anything gay. Like,
there's this really cute, she's a little shorter than me, she's in my my Foundations of Story class, but today she's also in my Digicel class, and she walked up to me and she said, aren't you in my Foundations for Story class? And I'm like, well, there is only one.
Oh, no.
And she's like, yeah, what's your name again? I'm like, Min. She's like, cool. And then we actually had a pretty decent-ish conversation. And then she was like, and this made me really happy, she's like, oh, what are your pronouns? And I'm like, I didn't say this out loud, but I was like, oh my god, you asked. No one asks. Ever. Because, you know, I don't really mind, like, I'm good with whatever, he, she, or they, so I don't require people to ask, because I'm good with anything, but I get really excited when people do ask.
Yeah. Like, oh my god. Like, holy shit, dude. It's just been, like, incredible. Like, I'm so happy.
I told you, college is the best.
It is. I was so nervous, but now I'm like, dude, I love college. Like, there's also this guy in my, political science class, and he's like, I don't know what to think of him, because, like, my emotions toward him confuse me, because all I can think of him is, like, he's so smart, but he's got that, like, air of confidence that like, if not done correctly, can make you think somebody's an asshole.
Yeah.
And he's so smart, like, and that's the problem. He's so smart, but the thing is like, he'll have full-on conversations with the instructor, like, while we're having a lesson. Like, for example, she'll say, like, North Korea has, and it's kind of like he asks questions to give the impression that he doesn't have information, but it's like he only asks the questions to show off his own intelligence. You know what I mean?
I think so, yeah.
Like, for example, she'll say something like, for example, the United Kingdom doesn't have a written constitution. And he'll be like, he'll raise his hand and he'll be like, isn't Zimbabwe the only other country that doesn't have a written constitution? You know, like, you see what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Something that
person
is almost on topic, but off topic enough just to be like, hey, I also know this.
Yeah. Like, and he does that, and like, the more class sessions I have with him, the more I'm like, fuck, oh no. And, like, today, I came out of class and I realized, shit, holy fucking shit. Do you know what's just happened? And I'm, like, talking to myself, and I'm like, you've just fallen in love with this man. I'm like, how the fuck did that happen? I was just in here hating this motherfucker, and now I'm like, hey, you want to come to my house? Like, and the funny thing about it is that it's so weird, because, like, it's not even, it's like a power my brain is thinking of, and they're like, holy shit, if this dude gets like a political science degree and y'all could be like the new Clinton family, y'all could be fucking political superpowers. You could be so influential that the Democratic Party comes to you and says, hey, I need 3 more votes to get this bill to pass, and you would be in a position to go, I'll get you 2/3 of the Republican vote and every Democratic vote in the House. You know, like, we could be such a power couple, but he playing. I don't even know this man's name, but he playing. He should be like courting me and like trying to marry me.
That is definitely.
I don't know his name. I don't know him in any way, shape, form, or fashion. All I know is his face, and he looks like Matthias.
Okay.
Like Markiplier's Matthias.
Yeah, I know. You know what's really funny about this conversation is before you got in call with me, I was babbling to myself about how I feel about call. Like, no, the way that my thing started was I was like, I don't even know how old the characters I'm drawing are supposed to be. I know I want them to be like old enough to have kind of romantic, crushy feelings for each other, but not old enough to understand them, and that between like 12 and 16 is a good age for that, because once you get 16 and higher, then people want to do the nasty and then get married, and it's like, who has time for that stuff? I got stuff to do. Like, sit on and then you called me. And I was like, oh, that's the end of that, so.
Dude, how does, like, speaking of conversations that we just have with ourselves, do you ever, like, imagine that you're talking to a teacher and, like, have a full-fledged conversation with that teacher, but the teacher's not there?
Sometimes.
I know that sounds really weird.
The way it goes for me is I will, I'll do that if I feel like I need to have a conversation with the teacher, just like in person actually, and I do that to help psych myself up for it.
Yeah.
Like, I imagine every possible response they may have.
Like, I was straight up the other night, because I was thinking about my calculus teacher, and my calculus teacher in high school, because I'm in pre-cal right now, because, like, I decided not to take the math class my ACT placed me in, because I didn't feel like I had a strong enough foundation in it, and I really had to study for the ACT to be able to get placed in that class, so I knew I didn't really have the foundation necessary.
Yeah.
So I took Math 105, which is pre-calculus algebra. And my teacher, like, that was the class where, you know, Mr. Fatai left and Miss McCartney started teaching.
Yeah.
And everything from the beginning of that year, even when Miss Williams got there, and I never realized it, but Miss Williams is a horrible teacher.
Yeah.
I mean, I've realized it since, but, like, Miss Williams is a terrible teacher. Like, she doesn't enforce homework or anything, and she doesn't really explain things well, and, you know, for a high school kid who doesn't want to do their fucking work, she's great.
Yeah.
But, like, for a college kid who's getting into a math class, and they realize how, or for a high school kid who leaves her and goes to a class where you actually have to know your shit, she sucks. Like, when I left and went to Gadsden City and got into the calculus class, I didn't realize how shaky my foundation on everything Algebra 2 and up was. Like, and in 9th or 10th grade, after geometry, I think I had geometry in 9th, after 9th grade, I started hating math, and it started at the beginning of the 10th grade year because, I hated it because I didn't understand what was going on. And, like, I had liked math before that alright, you know, and people hate math because they don't understand what's going on. That's why most people hate math, right?
Yeah. At least that's my understanding.
Yeah, like, because there's no reason not to hate math. Now,
I hate it because I'm too lazy to do it, but...
I mean, like, usually there's, now, like, but you don't hate it totally, like, completely and utterly to the point of where you wish math didn't exist.
Oh, no. Math is important in a foundation of how our world works, so...
Yeah. Like, I feel like the kids who hate it to the point of where they wish they never had to do math again in their life, it's because they weren't, somewhere along the line, the learning process process for them was messed up, and somebody made them feel stupid because they didn't understand. And I sat down with my math teacher the other day because we were having a math lab day, and she was like, what did she say? We were doing math lab, and she came over and she was looking at my stuff, and I was asking her a question about about something the system had done and counted me wrong for. And she came down, or not she came down, what was I going to say? She came and, brain think. She came over there and was talking to me, and she looked down at my paper. That's what it was. She looked down at my paper and saw that I had this big, long, wild-looking equation going on. And she was like, remind me to tell you how to save yourself some time, because you're doing too much. You don't have to do all that. And I was like, okay. And so after class, and usually you don't get this, nobody else has gotten this with a professor yet, because they'll be like, I kind of need you to come during office hours or anything, but I've managed to develop a relationship with my professors to the point where they will stay after class with me already, and they will talk to me when they don't do that for many other students, which is kind of weird, but and it may just be a coincidence, but they don't stay, they won't stay after. They'll be like, hey, come see me in my office or something like that. But he'll be like, hey, this, like my English teacher will sit and he'll explain stuff to me after class. Before the next class comes in. And she sat down with me, and she got me up and moved me over to the other section of the math lab because the class was coming in. But she sat me down and she was like, if you go through here and you remember that the center of the circle is 0, 0, you remember the equation is always going to be x squared plus y squared, you don't have to do this, this, this. I was talking to her and I was like, well, I think I was just putting it down just so I could understand what was going on, because it's key for my brain to be able to understand what I was doing so that I can actually make sense of it. And she was like, yeah, that makes sense. We had a conversation, and I told her about how I started hating math in 10th grade, and I didn't understand it, and that's why I hated it. She was like, and I was saying, I'm finally starting to understand it in this class, and she was so happy. She was like, oh my God, I'm so happy you're starting to understand math, like this, this, this. And she was like, and I think that's why a lot of kids hate math, is because they're in your situation and they had somebody make them feel stupid, or this, this, and this. And she's like, and I try to never do that with students. And she was so nice, and it just got me to thinking. I was like, Mr. Brown, my high school calculus teacher, Mr. Brown did the same thing. Mr. Brown helped me understand stuff, even though helped me understand stuff, even though I was a shit student back then. Because in high school I was a shitty student. Shitty as fuck. You don't even have to lie to me. I know I was a shitty student.
Shitty as in, because you normally did pretty deep, you were one of those kids that could do the bare minimum last minute and still make a B. So. Yeah,
it was that I didn't think of school, and this is the way I figured out how to explain it, which it's very weird. For some reason, there was a disconnect in my mind about school being something I had to do. For some reason, even though I knew, factually in my brain, school is something you have to do. My brain was also like, no, you don't really have to do it, or you're not interested, so don't do it. Stupid shit, just dumb as hell.
Yeah.
But, for some reason, there was that disconnect, and it was the reason I never did my homework, or if I did it really, really late. And part of me's thankful for it, because it's where I learned a lot of my persuasion skills. Was begging teachers to let me turn shit in late. But there was this disconnect where I didn't my brain was like, you don't have to do your homework, you don't have to do this, and so I didn't. I never did my homework like I was supposed to. I never did my homework like I was supposed to. I never put the amount of effort that I should have into projects and stuff. I always put just very little effort into it, to the point of where I didn't even try, and it was I do shit at the last minute and everything, and and I wouldn't read books, and I'd only answer the questions in like vague terms so that I get the point, but I didn't really do it. The only class that I really tried in, I think, was Mr. Rain's class. And even then, I really didn't try in his class. Mr. Rain's kind of sort of got my brain to start understanding, hey, you need to do your goddamn work, because not because school is something you have to do, but you need to do your goddamn work because Mr. Raines will get upset.
I mean, that's kind of also true.
Yeah, and but I did my homework in his class, and I tried a little bit more in his class, but I still didn't try to my full potential. Like, I always did shit at the last minute, and I'll admit that now. Like, if you caught me 12th grade and asked me if I did that, I'd say, fuck no, I didn't. Are you kidding me? Hell no. Like, I was a beautiful, amazing student who had nothing but straight A's and did their best on everything. And I might even brag that I could do my best at the last minute. But now I look back on it and I'm like, you could have done so much better if you did your stuff in a timely fashion and you did what you're supposed to do, but for some reason that you couldn't do it. I don't know why I couldn't do it. Honestly, I have no idea, because it all changed the minute I got into college, and it may have just been that I needed to be in college, but at the same time, I think it's more like I've made my brain start thinking about schoolwork as a job now.
Yeah.
Like, my brain has started thinking, hey, you have to do this to get paid. Even though I'm not really getting paid, I'm doing this so I will get paid.
See, go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Well, I have a long spiel after you finish, so if I interrupt, just keep going.
Like, I don't know, it's very weird. So I was saying, I was in here the other night. What I was going to say about this, just like before you do your point, the reason I brought that stuff up was because I was thinking, I was like, I'm going to have a conversation with Mr. Brown and tell him that he had an impact on my learning too. And I sat here and had like an entire hour and 30-minute conversation with myself. Just everything I was going to say to Mr. Brown, and then I was like, Mr. Brown's a public school teacher. He's not used to shit like Mr. Raines is, like people writing him letters and stuff. And I'm like, he probably hates your goddamn guts because you never turned in your homework, and you never even did your homework for like half a year, and you only started doing your homework when you were at risk of failing calculus. Like, it was a hellhole. Like, my senior year was a fucking hellhole. Like, to be completely honest, it was like fucking terrible. I don't know how in hell I graduated. Like, it was that bad. Like, I only graduated because I convinced the counselor to do things that they normally wouldn't do for students. And, somehow managed to graduate with a GPA in excess of 4.0, which was an experience. But,
only you could pull that off, I'm just saying.
Wait, what?
Only you could pull that off, just saying.
I don't know how in hell I did it. I look back on it, and I'm like, what the fuck did you do? Did you brainwash these motherfuckers? Like, it's insane the shit I did. I'm like, how the hell did I get away with this? I'd skip class and skip school and shit all the time. Like, I was the most irresponsible little fuck on this planet. I lied straight to the face of my teacher 3 times and said I checked out, and my parent had checked me out. And my parent didn't check me out. I just wanted to leave. Like, and all this time, like, I knew I'd get in dead trouble, like, if my parents caught me. But, like, and that just shows you, it just shows you how much of an impact, like, bad grades and not having a good teacher to the point of where, like, even though you're doing something, like, that's where that math thing came in. It's like, I'd skip math whenever I could. I'd skip math because I'd be like, I can't understand math, I'm making bad grades in math, and it makes me feel bad, so I don't want to go to math. And, like, it makes me feel stupid. The other kids make me feel stupid because they know how to do math and I don't. And, like, Mr. Brown took time to help me understand this kind of stuff, even though he was tired of my shit because I didn't do my damn work. Like, and I don't know, it kind of helped me, but at the same time, like, how big of an impact Miss Williams not being able to teach me had on me. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it has a huge impact on kids when you don't have a teacher who can teach properly, like, trying to teach them. Because, like, if you give a kid a weak foundation in math, they'll hate math for the rest of their life unless they get the right like, help they need to be able to get back on the same track. If I hadn't have chosen to take Math 105, I would feel stupid in calculus right now. I would feel stupid in calculus. I'd be hating it. I probably would have already skipped at least 2 of my calculus classes. I would have had a failing grade already at the beginning of the semester. And instead, because I have a teacher who cares, who helps me get to the point of where I need to be, I'm making A's. I'm making 100s in math. I've never once in my life made 100s in math. Since, like, or I'll take that back. I probably made, like, no, not even like in K5. I've never made 100s in math. Ever. Like on quizzes and stuff. Like, holy shit, dude. Like, the last 100s I remember getting in, like, math and stuff is, like, 6th grade when Miss Fleet would have us work on the board, and then I'd make, like 80s on my tests. Like, oh my god, the impact. Like, that just shows you how much teachers matter. But continue, what were you saying now?
Okay, so, like, when you were saying that, my brain started going into the big spiel it always has. Because, you know, my passion is education. And bad teachers really make a difference. I mean, I personally believe teachers can't help if they're awful at teaching. I think that the school should control what teacher has a job at the school if a teacher is awful. Because I think it's admirable for someone to want to teach kids. But if they're bad at it, they shouldn't get to do it. Like, I know Miss Williams wants to teach, and I know Miss Ashley wants to teach, but they're bad at it. So they shouldn't get to do it. And also because education is so important to make the world go forward, because, you know, that's a thing. Gotta learn from the mistakes of the past and be on the same level with each other. It's just like, it's important. And and then you were also talking about how, like, in high school you felt like it didn't really matter, even though it did. And the only reason high school mattered to me was because I had that goal of, as a little kid, never being believed in because of my dyslexia, and I wanted to be able to prove everyone wrong with that. But if I didn't have that goal, I wouldn't have given a shit about high school. I would have been like, yo, I'm just gonna sit here and do the bare minimum, and when I get my diploma, I'm gonna go work in a factory, or go into the army, or do something. Like, because high school, the thing about high school is, it's important to have a high school degree, but it's even more important now to have a college degree. So a high school degree is like, yay, I just made it, and you gave me a piece of paper. But a college degree is something you really have to work for because you want to work for it, and you want to be able to do stuff with your life. And I'm going to shorten it to that.
I mean, I just wish, like, I wish there was a way to weed out the bad teachers from the good teachers. I mean, I know that, like, you have to be, like, be a, what would you call it, like a teaching assistant or something? Student teacher, I think, is what it is. Like you go in and you're under an actual teacher.
Yeah.
Like, I wish there was a way. I mean, and I guess that's a way to do it, but I mean, there are teachers who can teach the material, but they're very, very, very apathetic. And, like, a lot of times that gets through that screening process. Like, you know, you could have somebody who teaches the material well, but, like, they don't care if their kids succeed and stuff. And part of it's because, hey, you teach tons of kids. But, like, you've got to care a little bit, and you've got to make sure that everybody's getting it, because when you have a teacher who's not teaching shit well, and the kids, and part of it's kids having to speak up. Kids need to speak up when they're not understanding stuff to, like, the higher authorities. And higher authorities need to pay more attention to that kind of stuff.
But kids just feel like they're stupid when they have to do that.
Yeah.
Not that I'm saying kids shouldn't do it. I mean, they should, and they shouldn't have to feel like they're stupid for not getting complex things. But part of that is teachers, and part of that is just other kids are assholes.
Yeah, and I mean, there was one thing that I was seeing, and it was when I was reading the book that we were required to read this summer, and it's called Outliers, The Story of Success. And they were talking about how there are certain kids who, if they're born at a certain time, they can succeed more than other kids, but it's not because they're necessarily more bright than the other kids. It's because they were born at a certain time, or they had other opportunities presented to them because of the situation they were in life, you know, and stuff like that. And, like, a lot of kids look at it and they think they're on an even playing field with everybody else. And so they notice and they're like, oh, Sally's doing better than me, so she's smarter than me. I feel stupid. And, like, if they think everybody else is getting it, you know, but a lot of kids aren't. Like, I don't know if I'm making sense. Like,
No, I got you.
yeah, like, a lot of kids aren't getting it, but a lot of kids, all the kids get scared to ask because they're like, maybe I'm the only one who doesn't get it. Maybe I'm stupid, or they've been told that questions that they've asked in the past are stupid. Which, that's the thing that people, like, you know, it's a big problem, is that a lot of kids are told their questions are stupid. You know, like, if they ask something and they're like, what does this word mean? They were like, you know, like, Miss Ashley was horrible at this.
She was! I remember that.
Like, if you asked what something meant, she'd be like, we went over this already, you should know this. And it's like, okay, bitch, but I don't. That's your problem. You didn't teach me. I mean, like, you know, it's one thing if you didn't do the homework, you know, but, like, if you did the homework and you don't understand, it's a teacher's job to help you. They're supposed to come and help you, and they're supposed to be like, what's the problem? You're not understanding? Let me help you understand. That's a teacher's job, and if you don't want to do that job, you don't need to be a teacher.
Exactly.
You don't have the right to teach. You need to have your teaching degree taken away. Like,
Miss Ashley didn't even have one.
yeah, she didn't have one in the first place. Like, somebody needs to walk up in Episcopal, and I hope it's somebody who's been there in the past. You know, and I hope they walk up there and they're like, you know what? You almost, and it might even be me, because, like, I'm tempted for it to be me, because I've thought about it all week, and I've been like, why don't I just go fucking tell Miss McCartney this shit? I don't need anything from her. It's not like some civil engineer living in Gadsden, fucking Alabama is going to have any impact on me whatsoever. Like, she, like, part of me wants to go in and be like, you don't realize that you've got a science teacher who you think is fucking great, who isn't teaching the kids right, who is making fun of kids when they don't understand things. You've got other teachers who are making kids feel like they're stupid for asking questions. You don't understand the impact that a shitty teacher can have on kids. Like, I thought I was just a shit. I thought I was just shit at math. I would never be good at math. I thought I would hate math for the rest of my life, and I probably would have if I hadn't had a good teacher. Like, and see, the thing that people also don't understand is to balance out a bad teacher that somebody's had, you don't just need a good teacher. You need a fucking great teacher. Like,
You need, like, a life-changing teacher.
yeah, like, it's like, oops, I burped. Gross. It's like, if you've got a teacher who teaches you for 2 years, and they're bad, and, like, you've got, okay, one kid has a bad teacher for 2 years, doesn't understand shit. One kid has a good teacher for 2 years, he understands, he goes on to a good teacher, he keeps going. So, like, this kid who has a bad teacher, if you have good teachers, you don't need anything, but after you, like, I guess it's like, oh my god, I can't believe I'm about to do this. Let me tell you a mathematical equation to explain this.
Okay.
So, like, let's say the value of, what was I going to say? The value of a kid who has had good teachers. He's at 3, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Then he has 2 years of a bad teacher, and a bad teacher is -1. A bad teacher equals -1. So that's minus two like good points from that kid. So he's now where he was at a 3, prepared to go into another level. Now he's at a 1 because he's had these 2 bad years of school. And then if you give him a good teacher, just a teacher who gets the material across and does it well, the value of a good teacher is just +1. Like, so now you've got him at 2, but he's still behind all these other kids who were at 3, and now they're at 4.
Yeah.
So he's at 2. He's at half the experience level of these kids because he had a bad, teacher. But, like, in order to make up the gap that this bad teacher has put upon him, he has to have some sort of teacher that, like you said, is like life-changing. Like, he has to have some teacher, some amazing teacher who takes the time and effort required to get him back up to the 3 and then to the 4. Like, this teacher has to pick up the duty of this bad teacher. So they have to pick up, instead of just being a 1 teacher, they have to pick up an extra duty and become a 2 teacher to be able to put that kid back on track. Or maybe even a 3. See, they've got to pick up the 2, they've got to become 2 to get the kid back up to where it's supposed to be. But 3 to get the kid to where he really needs to be to catch up with the other kids. It's like, if you have a bad kid, if you have a bad teacher, you're screwed. Like, unless you have somebody like that. And that's the sad thing, is that you don't get enough teachers like that. Like, you're letting the bad teachers in, and you're not hiring the super good teachers, or like you're hiring the bad teachers, and you can't possibly balance that out with just good teachers. You need really, really, really good teachers, which, like, wouldn't be a problem if you didn't hire bad teachers, but how the heck are we going to get rid of them? And I don't know if I made any sort of sense when I was saying that, but, like, I had to write it down.
No, I think you did really good, but I actually have to say a little bit of your equation is flawed, because it's not just the educational damage, it's also there's a confidence element that will carry over. Like, you can't see this in the stream, but I'm gonna do it. Okay. So, based on your equation, this kid has... Fuck, I don't have a good layer. Okay, this kid has...
Wait, before you do it, so I can see it, what is the link for your stream?
It's that creative... Hold on, it may still be copy and pasted in my, thingy thing.
Are you on Picardo?
Yeah, here you go.
Gotcha. I'm about to get here.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, so you said 3, and then they have 2 years of bad, so that's -2 equals 1, while other kids are supposed to be 3, basically.
Yeah.
But then they end up being 4. No, wait. Okay, so here's how... Okay, sorry. There are 2 parallel equations that go with this. Bad... Good. There are 2 people in the stream that are about to see me do hypothetical math about how bad teachers make kids worse. Okay. So over the course of 2 years, every year with a bad teacher is -1 from level 3, and every year with a good teacher is +1, so that's 2 years. So -1 for one kid, +2 for the other. So that's level 5 for the good and level 1 for the bad. Now, you could say that you need an excellent teacher that can give 2 levels per year to catch up the kid that had the bad teacher. So let's say that kid gets a really good teacher, and for the next 2 years they have a really good teacher, so they're 1 that's like +2 per year. So that 1, they have them for 2 years, so that's +4, and then they get back up to 5. That's still not quite enough, because in those 2 years the kids that were level 5 are now up to level 7.
Oh, you're right, though.
And that's not even the full depth, because there would be another part of the equation where a kid learns at a... I can't word it right. So say... I know you've been here for 20 minutes. I've seen you, but I didn't say anything. Sorry, there was someone in the chat that's been like, bitch, I've been here for 20 minutes. Anyway. They didn't say anything in chat, so I thought they just want to sit there. Anyway. But then you have to... So, there's that equation. So it would actually take probably 3 years. Let's see, 5 plus 2, add on 1 more year. And that would get that kid up to 7. So that would be about it. Like, it would take 5 years for that kid to catch back up about... Wait. Hold on. I gotta do the actual math so it doesn't sound like I'm blowing smoke out of my ass. Okay. So let's give this kid 2 more years. 5 plus 4 again equals 9. And then that 2 years would be 7. Okay, plus 2. Okay, it would take, let's see.
Yeah, 3 years, right.
No, longer. It would take 4 years.
Oh, damn.
It would take 4 years for that kid, even with a really good teacher that's twice as good as the other teacher, to fix that damage that one bad teacher did.
Yeah. Like,
But I'm not done. There's more. There should be more to this equation, because there's the whole idea of confidence.
yeah.
So confidence would cut progress in half by every year that they have with a bad teacher. So actually, even though this really cool so that equation should look something like bad teacher equals x 1/2. Because like the x would be x equals experience from teacher. So really, because like when you have bad confidence, you don't learn well.
Right.
So when you have a bad teacher, you learn and you just can't get it together. You lose your confidence. So really what this equation would look like, now that we have all that, let me scale that down. Math time with Min.
Oh my god, this is actually like the literal, actual perfect equation, because I just realized I had 2 bad years with Miss Williams, and it's going to take me 4 years to catch it back up.
Okay.
To get back up to the level where everybody else is.
So let's start back at the beginning of the really good teacher with the new equation x 1/2 from the minus confidence. Because technically, you had 2 years with Miss Williams, so it'd be 1/4.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So the way this equation would look, let's see, you start off with 1 plus, plus x 1/4 equals. So that's what your equation looks like. How many years? Tell me how many years you want with this good teacher who gives +2. Hold on, I gotta make the equation longer. Because it's like good experience is +2, so x is actually years. There we go. Okay. Something like that. I'm not good at math because I had bad teachers. Hold on. Wait. There we go. Okay. How many years? Tell me how many years you want with a good teacher.
I don't know. I'm so confused.
Well, okay.
What have you done?
So you had we were up to 4 years with a really good teacher to catch up to good students without the confidence part of the equation.
Yeah.
And the confidence part of the equation, based on 1/2 per year with a bad teacher, means you're down to 1/4. And the X2 is really good teachers give you 2 experience a year. And every year it's like, yeah. Every year it's, sorry, I started to write something that shouldn't be there. So, like, every year, so, like, if you have that teacher for 2 years, it would be 2 times 2, which would be 4 experience points.
Yeah.
But then that's multiplied by 1/4. So
That'd be 0.9.
I'm just gonna leave it as 1/4 because that's easier for me. But anyway.
We're talking about, like, you said, Q.
Oh.
And,
Yeah. Okay. So let's do the 4 years that it was gonna take in our last equation. So that's 1 plus 4. That's 5. 4 times 2 times 1/4. I'm really good at math, guys. I'm so sorry. I was supposed to be drawing. So that's. So that's 8 experience from the 4 years, which is how you catch up to 9. But that's multiplied by 1/4, which, and there should be something even more complicated where every year with a good teacher increases your something by like 1/8. But I'm not getting into that. Too complex for common day users. But let's stick with this formula that you never get your confidence back. So now the 4 years that it would have taken you to be on the same level get you 8/4, which is 2. So really, you're just up to 3 in 4 years.
Oh my god.
Where you should be up to 9.
It's crazy to think that we continue to allow this kind of stuff to happen. Like, we let these teachers affect these kids to the point of where they will never recover fully.
Yeah. And if you're like me and other people, like, I feel like you can get your confidence back and I can get my confidence back, but a lot of times it comes and goes. So really, we never improve. So the 1/4 would be a constant. And everyone in the chat's like, this math is gonna make me throw up.
See, and like, it also, the other thing is like, consider the
I'm gonna go back to drawing cute things while we talk.
Back from other, you can get your confidence from other teachers and through other things, like practicing and stuff, but you still have to do more work to get back up to the confidence level and everything that other kids are. Like, you've got to work extra hard to recover from that one or 2 years of a bad teacher. There's so much that you have to do to be able to recover.
Yeah.
Like, ridiculous amounts of what you have to do to be able to recover from that. And I'm just like, why do people who don't want to be teachers become teachers? Like, or like, it's not like there's money in it. Like,
there's no money in teaching at all.
I mean, it's like, why? You know what I mean? I just don't understand. I'm just like, why would you do that? Why would you do that to yourself? Like, I mean, why would you even put up with, like, I can't teach. I wouldn't teach a kid. You couldn't pay me to teach a kid. Like, I suck at it. Like, I've ruined those kids so bad. Like, those kids would never recover. Those kids would drop out of school and become thugs because I couldn't educate them. Like,
at least you're honest.
Yeah, I mean, like I can't educate a kid. I mean, like, and I know there's no money in it. Like, why in heck would I go into it if I know that? Like, the only thing I could think of is you think, oh, well, I get the prestigious title of being a teacher. I'm like, prestigious? If by prestigious you mean like eating ramen noodles for a couple of years while you pay off student loans, like, I mean, I don't understand. I mean, you just gotta leave teaching to the people who want to teach and people who don't want to teach or who aren't meant to be teachers. There are some people who go in and they're like, I want to teach kids. And then they actually get into it and they're like, oh, well, crap, I don't want to be a teacher. But I've already gone through most of my, like, degree. I mean, I've already gone through most of the requirements for the degree, so I guess I'm stuck with it. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's another thing that I didn't consider, like, that I didn't consider is, like, college, the cost of college and stuff also factors into this kind of stuff, because, like, you come in and...
Yeah, if you go into college, of course, to actually become a teacher, you have to do more than just an education degree normally. So really, they have to... They're really, at least in my opinion, they're really dumb if they get that far into... If they get to grad school level and it's like, oh shit, now I'm stuck with it.
Yeah. I mean, it's like... And to an extent, I don't think there's a way to fix it. Because you can't just tell people, hey, you can't be this or you can't be that, you know?
Right.
Like, you can't go to people and be like, hey, you suck at what you're doing, you can't be a teacher. Because then you get into, like, the whole thing of people can be whatever they want to be, but at the same time, dude, no you can't. You can't be whatever you want to be. Like, I hate that myth of things, like, because sometimes you're just not meant to be one.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like, I'm not meant to be a teacher. Like, whoever tells me that is dumb. Like, the whole, be whatever you want to be. You can be anything if you believe. That is a type A personality who knows nothing about what they're talking about, who needs to shut up before they cause problems. Like, there's certain things that certain people just can't do. You just can't. Some people just can't do it. Like, somebody who's, let me think of something. Somebody who doesn't have any arms, doesn't have any arms or hands, can't be like somebody who teaches handwriting to 5-year-olds. I mean, like, no, you know what I mean? Like, there's just...
That's so offensive to people without arms. No, I know exactly what you mean.
I mean, you see what I mean, though? Like, there's just certain things that certain people are meant to do. I can't teach kids. I'm never going to teach kids. Don't tell me that I can do anything, because I can't do teaching. I mean, if I wanted to hurt the kids, sure, I could do teaching. Like, but there's a difference in between, like, going into a classroom and actually teaching these kids and helping them learn, and going into a classroom and, like, just putting material up on the board. Like, people think that teaching is such an easy job, and that's also something that gets me. Teaching isn't an easy job. Like, teaching is one of the hardest jobs out there, because you've got to find different approaches to be able to teach kids in different ways.
Exactly, and no one really gets that. It's like, hey, have you ever thought about what you do if you teach a student with dyslexia? It's like, oh, I may never have a student with dyslexia. It's like, well, that's not true, because 1 in 4 people have it, and most of them don't know. So, get your head out of your ass and learn how to teach people with other issues.
Yeah, and I mean, that's something that you've got to do as a teacher. You've got to be prepared for any situation with any type of kid. You know? Like, if you've got a kid coming in who was like you, who was dyslexic and was having trouble reading, you know, that's something that you've talked about, that, like, talking about bad teachers, you and I are both examples of it. Like, you were talking about how when you were in the public school system, nobody was helping you when you were falling behind, and they were, and I'm sure that killed your confidence.
They wanted to put me in special ed. Of course it killed my confidence.
Like, yeah, and it's like, I didn't want to say that because I wasn't sure if that was the fact of it.
That is the fact of it.
Yeah, I thought it was. I was like, I'm pretty sure it is, but I don't want to suggest it just in case. But, like, yeah, I mean, like, if you've got a teacher who doesn't want to take the time to help, like, that's something you've got to do as a teacher. You've got to take the time, like, to help every kind of kid. Like, if a kid comes in with dyslexia, but they're not somebody who needs to be in special ed. It's not like they can't read, or they have, like, you know what I mean? It's not like a special ed type of situation. It's like, they just need a little bit of help, you know? And, like, a lot of people don't put that much effort into it, and they don't realize, they're like, well, I could teach any type of kid. And I'm like, no, you couldn't. No, you couldn't. I'm like, I was a tutor, and tutoring was hard. Like, I did it, and kids understood, but, like, I will tell you, like, if somebody who's gone through and done teaching things, like, or something
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't have had a job if teachers were good all the time, but that would be okay because those kids wouldn't need it. You know?
Right.
Like a teacher's job, is like, you've got to teach the material and help them get it. Like, I didn't even do half of that. I did like a fourth of it. I just helped them get it, like, little pieces of things. And like, what was my point? Where was I going? Like, what did I say before I started with the tutoring thing? Because I got off subject for a second.
You were talking about how, like, without bad teachers, jobs like tutoring can't exist.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, and that's a good thing, though. Like, I mean, but what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, that's the job. That's an example of a bad teacher, like the public school thing with you and your dyslexia. Like, if you're a teacher, you've got to find a way to deal with students with dyslexia. You've got to find a way to deal with students who have ADHD. You've got to find a way to deal with students who are ADD. You have to find a way to deal with any student with any sort of learning disability. You know, like, and I mean, there are specialty degrees for people who are going to teach in the field where, like, the mental disabilities are more severe. But, like, there are kids every day like you, and like, who have ADD and ADHD and stuff, who are getting stuck in special ed because the teachers don't want to take the extra time to be able to help them learn. Your intelligence level, like, you're no less capable of being super intelligent than anybody else. Like, your eyes and brain have a thing where they mix letters up sometimes. That doesn't affect your intelligence. That's just a weird thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like, it doesn't work well in the classroom, but it's super helpful for what I'm gonna be doing for a living.
Yeah. And it just gets me, because I'm like, these poor kids, like, and I just got to thinking about it when I was talking about you. I was like, oh my god, the number of kids who are probably getting stuck in special ed because, and I'm not even going to pretend that there's not a stigma associated with being in special ed, because there is.
Yeah.
If people find out you were in special ed, they're automatically going to think less of you. I mean, that's just the fact of the matter. Unfortunately, that's the fact of the matter. Like, it sucks, and I hate it, and it's dumb, but, like, I mean, there are certain kids who need to be in special ed. Like, and I'm talking about, like, severe disabilities and stuff.
Like, Prague.
Yeah, like Prague. Prague needed to be in special ed. But kids who have ADHD or they learn a little bit slower than other kids, you don't put them in special ed. It's not like they don't have the ability to learn. It's just that they need a little extra help. And I mean, I get that people are like, "That's what special ed is for." Let's be real. That's not what special ed is for. That's not what it's being used for. That's why there's a stigma associated with it. It's because it was intended to be used like that, but it wasn't. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm just like, it breaks my heart to think about all of the kids out there who have been placed in special ed, who didn't need to be placed in special ed, who will have that stigma with them for the rest of their lives. You know, like, even though they may be kids who were really smart, you know, they may just have needed help with their dyslexia, or they may have needed help to, like, focus on things because they're ADHD or ADD. You know?
I've met people that, like, there are people here at SCAD that I've met who were put in special ed not because they had, like, a focusing issue like ADHD or ADD or anything with dyslexia. They were too intelligent for the class to the point that the teachers didn't know what to do with them, but they weren't mature enough to be bumped up a grade, so they put them in special ed.
Yeah.
And it's like, why would you do that? That's like, they're doing good. They don't have any problems. Like,
it's just dumb. Like, and I mean, I'm like, people, like, we were talking about something in global health where they were talking about, Americans are very disillusioned with the way America is. like, with the way we run the country, we're like, we don't run it the way that we need to be. And it's not what Republicans think of. We need to be more frugal and stuff like that. No, it's actually the left way of, you need to invest in the future. And we're not investing into education. And our education system sucks. For real, it sucks. We're like last in like 16 different categories. Like, our education system sucks. It needs to be changed. It needs to be changed a lot. Like, there's a reason the stereotype Asians are good at math exists. It's because the like Asian math systems, or at least like China and Japan, like the more developed countries, their education systems are better. They have better education systems. It's not because they're Asian, they naturally have an aptitude for it. It's a matter of being born, and this is another thing that came from Outliers. It's a matter of being born in a place that has a very, very good it's the advantages of being born in a country where the education system is very, very focused on. You've got to focus on the future for kids in order to be able to, like, have a good future. I mean, like, you can't, like, I mean, it's like, at 25, you're told, hey, you know, you need to start putting money away for your retirement plan. But instead, you've got, like, $1 in your bank account. And you keep living, and you don't put anything in your bank account. And then you get to, like, 65, and you're like, I want to retire now. And you've still got $1 left. It's like, you can't plan your future to live on that dollar.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, instead you've got to, like, at 25, when you're told you need to start investing for the future, you need to start putting in, like, $100, you know, every month or something like that. And then by the time you get to 65, you've got a good amount of money to be able to support yourself.
Yeah. That was something, investing in the future, that came up when on my way back to Savannah. We stopped at my cousin Suella's house, and she's a great little old lady, and it came, like, a little bit, not major politics came up, but a little bit of politics came up, and my mom mentioned that I was a Bernie Sanders person, and Suella was like, yeah, I know a lot of the young people liked him because he said he was going to make college free. And this is the only thing that I am, like, education itself is the only thing, even remotely political, I'm super passionate about. And I just looked over at her, and it's like, you shouldn't say that, because my generation knows that if we implemented free college, we would not get the benefit of it. It would be the generation after us.
Yeah, like I'm already shelling out my $5,000 and stuff like that. I don't like it because it's not like, oh, I love free college because I'm going to get the benefit off of it. No, it's because you're taking kids and investing in education. It's like, oh, you only like it because you're going to benefit. It's like, no, I'm out of the education system, but I see what position I'm in and how much money I'm having to pay, and I don't want that to happen in the future, because all it does is, like, it damages us. It straight up does. Like, you won't have as many people with a college degree. You won't have as many people who are educated to be able to work on, like, a global scale and stuff like that, because we're not at the level. Like, the rest of the world's at, like, a 50, and we're at, like, a 25, because we've refused to invest in anything besides war and just stupid stuff. Like, America was founded as an isolationist country, yet we're trying to get out and get into everybody else's affairs and stuff. Like, you know how much better we were doing when we were an isolationist country? We were doing so good! Like, we were focusing on ourselves, and we weren't spending money on wars, and we weren't getting involved in wars when we didn't need to be. We sure as hell weren't starting them. You know, we didn't go traipsing into places like we did with Iraq just for oil. You know?
Yep.
I mean, like, everything's screwed up with Reagan. Like, I hope he burns in hell. Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, Reagan, like, Dylan and I were talking about it. And I was talking about how when I was a kid, I was watching Reagan's funeral with my grandma, and I remember crying because I cried every, like whether I knew the person or not, I cried. And like I was watching it and I was like, oh, it's so sad that he's dead. Now I look back on it and I'm like, why did I cry for that buffoon? Like, I'm sure he wasn't a terrible, terrible person, you know. I mean, he just had problematic political views, and he was so popular that face recognition let him get the position he needed to be in, you know?
Yep.
Like, oh, screams for 12,000 years. I hate Reagan. I hate him so much. God, I hope somebody throws him in a trash can. Dylan was talking about it. He was like, I straight up punched the guy in the face. Like, I was like, I'll pee on his grave. Let's set his grave on fire. Like, I have so much hatred for him now that I realized how much he messed everything up. And, I mean, sure, I don't necessarily agree with his taxing systems, but, like, that's another thing we were talking about in global health, is that you can't tell, it's hard to, what we really need to be doing is we do need to be taxing the wealthy. And we do need to be using those tax dollars to save our environment and invest into education and stuff, and you do need to be doing it. And, like, even though I hate that view, I realize it's right. You know?
Yeah.
Like, it sucks, but it's right. That's another thing we were talking about, is like, the environment is getting ruined because you've got countries like India and China going through their industrial revolutions, and they're polluting the air in like massive amounts. But can you go in and say, hey, you can't do this? You know, we did it 200 years ago. We went through our industrial revolution and we polluted the environment like crazy because we didn't know any better. We didn't know any better than to do that. Like, so you can't go into a country who's saying, hey, like, who's going through their industrial revolution and say, hey, you can't do that. They don't know any better either.
Yeah.
So kind of what you've got to do is you just got to let them pollute the environment and go through their industrial revolution, or you've got to pay your tax. You've got to raise taxes in other countries, and you've got to build green technologies. And instead of charging people for it, you just got to give it to them. You got to give them green technologies to help them through their industrial revolution. Like, you can't go in there and, like, without giving them ways to do it. Like, you can't go in there and say, hey, you need to stop emitting so much pollution into the air, and then not give and then, like, make them follow that rule and not give them any way of, like, fixing it. They don't know how. They're going through the same thing we went through. We did the same dang thing. It's hypocritical.
Yep.
From an environmental standpoint, it sucks, but I don't know how I got on that subject. I don't even know how that came out.
I don't know.
My train of logic is, like, crazy.
Vampiyami said that they loved how I was drawing and talking politics. Would you like to hear about the thing I'm drawing?
Me?
Yeah, and everyone in chat.
Yes, tell me. Or wait, hold on. Not yet. I'm gonna go see if there's food.
Okay.
And then...
Okay, I will talk about it as soon as she gets back. I should go to bed because I have class at 8 a.m., but I can take a nap between classes. What are your comment info? Corn info. I don't know what you're talking about. What are your info? Min does you is gay. I mean, can you be more specific? Are you asking about my sexuality in general? Or are you asking about my, are you asking about my sexuality in general? Or are you talking about, my gender? Or, because gay is a really big umbrella term. So, oh, I just saw the commission thing. I'm not taking commissions right now because, partly because, school just started and I had trouble, getting my PayPal stuff set up. I know, Pa Bakura commissioned me and I could never get PayPal to accept his payment, so he eventually just gave it to me as a gift. Because I was like, here, just keep them for free. And he's like, okay. And then he gave me the money as a gift, and I was like, I guess that's less illegal than me telling you to give it to me as a gift. So, it was like, and at the time it was like $3 for like a sketch like the ones I'm doing right now, with maybe a little bit of color. Or, yeah, it was, I think it was either 3 or 6. I can't remember. It was 6 because he asked for 2 and the commission amount was 12. So for a sketch like the ones I'm doing tonight with some color, it's like $6 each. But really, since I can't get PayPal to let me do actual stuff, I will draw stuff for you for a donated price. And depending on your donated price is how much effort I put into it. Sorry, I can't be more official than that. Also, because of schoolwork, I'm not doing major beautiful commissions, so I don't recommend sending me a lot of money. Like at all. Not even a little bit, a lot. Just nothing. Like, I will not accept anything unless you ask for more than one drawing over $10. If you ask for like 2 drawings, yeah. If you like for one drawing, like just make so. I'm not like I'm trying to explain this the best I can because I can't legally give you a price because I don't have all my stuff for my taxes set up. But if you would like to donate an amount with a request, I will do work based on the amount you've donated. No more than $10 per drawing. But if you ask for like 2 drawings between like $7 to $13 or $15 is appropriate. Like stuff like that. It's super shady and probably a little bit illegal, but there you go. That's how my commission stuff is going right now. I don't know, I think I clicked something on accident. And I don't know. I feel like I think I clicked it on accident and I don't know how to turn it off. 'Cause like for me there's a check and there's an X and I'm afraid to hit the check again, but I'm afraid to hit the X because I don't want it to like ban you. I don't know what the check or the X means. I want you to stay where you are, so I kind of just want to like leave it there because I don't know what to do. I think it's my fault that it's there. I'm sorry. I do know who you are. At least I'm like 80% sure you're Lord Shadow of Bakura. I fucked up your username. I don't know. I know that I know a little bit. Not much. Hey, friend.
Hello.
Okay, so are you ready for the story of what I'm doing?
Yes.
Okay. So this is actually for my screen design class. We had our first class. That's the class I have from 5 to 7:30 on Mondays and Wednesdays.
At night?
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Well, I wanted this specific teacher, and it was the best time I could have because it gives me just enough time because I have an 8 a.m. and then I have that 5 to 7:30, and that's just enough time for me to come home and take a nap.
Oh, you're right.
And then go back at my leisure. And also, one of my friends, his name is Angus, or his nickname is Angus. He's in my class, and this is the first class I've ever actually had with him, so I get to know him. And he has a service dog, and I didn't know that. And he brings this service dog to class, and we sit next to each other, and it's like, you have a doggo. Can I sketch your doggo?
Well, hold on a second, Maggie. I sent him the picture of you saying that I swam in your melon water, and he followed you. On your ex-Eviternity account?
I don't care. Continue.
Okay.
Sorry.
So anyway, this is for my screen design class, which is,
You got a follower.
I hope so.
it's basically an animatic class and a storytelling class. And our Professor Carly is, like, the coolest dude ever. Like, I'm so excited I took his class. Because he's basically teaching us how to put our stories into a animatic format, even though he's not, he doesn't teach us how to make the animatics, because he said we can use any program we want. So he can't teach us every program in time for us to pick one, so we kind of have to pick one and learn on our own. But his whole thing is he teaches us how to make the story, not how to do the animatic.
Oh, that's cool.
So, his syllabus wasn't approved, so we don't have a syllabus. And the reason it wasn't approved was this whole thing with the animation chair. And the chair quit, and now 2 other professors are running the chair while they look for a new chair. And he just didn't get a syllabus in time to get fixed. So our first assignment is to make an animatic with sound. Hold on, someone sent something in the chat. It's worth it to apply to SCAD.
I mean, you can't hurt.
Yeah, like, I recommend applying.
Oh, I hate myself.
I recommend applying just so you could say you applied, and if you get in, even if you don't go. Because, like, when I applied, I actually wasn't planning on coming. Like, when I applied to SCAD, I just wanted to see if I would get in, because I thought I was set going to the Art Institute of Atlanta. And I think you should apply. Even if you don't get in, I think it's important to apply. Because you might. Because, like, even if you don't like your portfolio, just send in what you think is the best. You could even send in written work, because we have a ton of writing majors. But anyway, to continue my story, I recommend applying. But anyway, so Professor Corley was like, okay, even though we don't have the syllabus, your first assignment is to make an animatic with sound. And I don't know how I'm going to do the sound. I'm going to need help with that. But an animatic with sound. And the theme is Lost Dog.
I messed up. I did a bad thing. I dropped rice all over my bed. Sorry.
It's all good. Did you hear me, though?
I mean, it's everywhere. I have never seen so much rice.
Did you hear me? Are you excited?
Say the last part again. Oh, Lost Dog?
Yeah, the theme of the animatic is Lost Dog, and that's all he says. He doesn't limit us to anything, that just the theme is Lost Dog. So, and he didn't give us a due date because he doesn't have a due date yet. And so he just assigned this yesterday, and I'm already, working on it.
Oh my god.
Because as soon as he said Lost Dog, a story popped into my head, and I'm going to walk you through the story. Everyone who's here is going to get a little walkthrough of the story. Even though I don't have it all storyboarded out and finished. So, so, my idea is that is about this little girl who they're between 12 and 16ish, probably 12 and 15. So this little girl goes home from school, and on a full moon, she finds this dog in her backyard, and she plays with the dog all night, and then he goes missing, and then she goes looking for him. And she has this friend from school that helps her look. So the first scene is this scene here, and you see error, okay, is this first scene, and so it's the scene of the city, and it, like, the cool thing about his class is he doesn't care if it's drawn super good as long as it gives your story well. So the first scene is the boy walks into the frame, then as he's walking, the girl joins in the frame, and she runs up to catch up with him, and she gets right next to him just in time for them both to exit the frame. And then, boop, and then they're walking, and she's looking ahead, and he glances over at her, and then she looks at him, and he's like, oh shit, she's looking at me. And then he looks away, super blushy, and she's like, oh yes. And then she turns because this is her house, and he's like, oh shit, where are you going? And then she goes off screen, and he's like all super sad. And then the next scene is him watching her meet her mom at the door. And that's all I have so far on the board, but I have like the whole thing in my brain. So, staring at the booty, staring at the 12, I see you in the chat, staring at the 12-year-old booty that's actually probably closer to 15. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't named these characters. All I have is the character designs. All I have is the story, but I don't have a name, and I don't have the ages. So, but I'm like super excited.
Tell me the story.
You want to hear the whole story?
Yes.
I guess I can let it be a little cheat for everyone in stream. If I end up posting the stream, I will probably put a big censor bar here. That way they don't get a spoiler if I put it on YouTube. But, so the story is, I'm gonna keep drawing while I talk about it. The story ends up being, and that's where it ends.
Oh my god.
And he's still wearing clothes. Stop saying it's kinky in the chat.
Oh my god. That's beautiful. God, I can't wait till you make movies. I can't wait. That's gonna be so good. You're gonna be like Studio Ghibli kind of movies. Like, A+. I just heard.
It's not kink. But I'm really excited for this class because I did not say, did she just say I can't wait? She said movie. So one of the people in chat, when you said I can't wait until you make movies, said I can't, did she just say she can't wait to make boobies?
Oh my god.
But anyway.
Movies.
But because I don't know what I'm gonna do about sound, because this has to have sound. I just, like, for the girl and the boy, I want it to be almost like Sims language almost. Like, you hear their voices, but it's not really English. Like, I'd do the girl's voice and probably pitch it up a little more too, like, doggy! Just like, dog! And like running around like, just make sim sounds. And then the whole time the boy just doesn't say anything, he's just like,
So,
I am proud of you for trying to make a comic thing. But anyway.
Holy crap. Okay, there we go. I was like, this is a problem.
So that's the story for my first assignment. Like, so he was talking about how he's had students, like, knock it out of the park on the first assignment, and he, like, looks at them and says, "Get out of animation." I want to be one of those students.
So, I want to know what students chose, and I'm listening, I was listening to you, this just came into my head while, like, after you got done speaking. We've got 5 articles we can choose from, right?
Yeah.
Like, we can choose these 5 different articles written by this guy. He wrote this entire thing. It's all part of one book. And he says, and our English professor is like, choose one, and that's what you're going to do your essay on, because right now this is analytical writing.
Yeah.
And like, I'm not sure what to do, because I'm like, part of me wants to do one that a lot of people don't choose. You know?
Understandable.
Like, I'd like to see which one doesn't have the most people on it. Because I know the one about vegetarians is going to have a lot. There's one that seems like it might be the one that isn't going to have a lot. And it's 13 Ways of Looking at a Pasture. And he's talking about this farm that's like supposedly like a throwback to the past farming. What?
It says, give me a second. I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, you trying to show off you can flip it into a tablet.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happened. Hey, look.
Yeah, but yours.
Huh? I do have Photoshop. I have Photoshop CS6, the entire suite. It's 20 times better than what you got going on. Yeah, I have unlimited space in OneDrive. You don't have OneDrive, you have. How do you have OneDrive? Is it Microsoft? Maybe it is.
And we have Google Drive too, but
Everybody has Google Drive. Everybody on this planet has
we
Google
have
Drive.
unlimited.
Hurry up, what you need?
Alright, it says, add a positive to the phrase, the Army advanced up the hill. So it described the Army. What would I say? I was going to put the Army, commanded by Chief Commander Barack Obama. I'm sure
What?
don't be looking at one because you get in trouble.
No, I was looking at the definition of a positive.
You know what a positive is?
I can't remember what a positive is.
It's like, okay, here's one. My favorite.
Do you know what a dangling modifier is?
Something.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I was right, wasn't I?
No, you weren't. Okay, what's the sentence?
No, it's not. Shut up.
Olivia, I'm on the phone.
She won't shut up. No.
What is the sentence?
Oh my God, it's 10 o'clock.
What is the sentence? What? Olivia, what is the sentence?
The Army advanced up the hill.
And it has to modify army?
Yeah. The Army, advanced up the hill. The Army, marching a tune. Marching in tune.
That's not what an appositive is.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not. An appositive is like, it's like if you've got a noun, it renames that noun. Yeah, I'm looking at it.
Sydney, right here. Okay.
A hot-tempered tennis player, that's the appositive. Robbie, that's what it's modifying. Yeah, that's what I was just. I know. What are you saying it is? I'm saying it's a noun or noun phrase that modifies another
It
noun.
has to be a noun phrase.
Myself.
Like for my other ones, I put my favorite book of all time, comma, Slaughterhouse 5, comma, it's about both time travel and the horrors of World War II. He told us how to do that one. I know that one's correct. And then
The army, comma, a massive and intimidating show of force from the invading country, comma, and advanced up the hill. There you go. That's it. That's
Okay,
an
give me
apostrophe.
something shorter.
The army, comma, an intimidating force from the other country, comma, advanced up the hill.
The army, an intimidating force, advanced up the hill.
Do that whatever.
Combine these two sentences using the verb phrase. I was delighted by the quality of figs on display. I shoved handfuls of them into my pocket until a suspicious figgy ooze began to creep down my pants leg.
You know how to do that.
Okay, so when I say I shoved handfuls of...
See, I can't be a teacher. Case in point.
Nope, not your strong suit. Not even a little bit.
I just did that thing. It's like, this is how you do this.
You did that thing we said awful teachers do.
And you have to connect it with a verb phrase. Okay.
Combine these two sentences using a verb phrase.
I don't know what the
As
hell a
I
verb phrase
shoved
is.
handfuls of the delightful quality of figs on display. I don't know. Help.
I don't know. I can't teach, Olivia.
I had 100 points in his class. I don't know how. I literally get him darting up
What's with them into my pockets?
all the time, so he knows that I hate him. Like, I give him dirty looks. I'm like, don't hurt me.
I don't know what the hell to do. I don't even remember what a verb phrase is. What
I just thought it was funny how you phrased it.
phrase? See, Gadsden City gave her a laptop.
Good. As long as she doesn't break it, it's good.
See, it's one of those that turns into a tablet, so she can't break it unless she like steps on it or something.
Oh. Good. I think it's good when schools let students rent and use laptops because not everyone can afford a laptop and everyone needs one nowadays, so.
No!
I need to study for
Don't
college.
copy anyone. That's plagiarism.
I'm not copying them. I'm just getting something.
That's plagiarism. Hey, there's a tutoring site that's. I can't teach. Case in
No,
point, I'd be a horrible teacher.
you
I'm
would.
a tutor, but like that kind of like Olivia's also just difficult.
Well, part of it is she's your sister, and it's harder to teach family members than it is other people.
Yeah.
At least in my opinion.
Yeah, she was also a butthole me earlier. So she suffered now.
Well, you know. But oh, I want to tell you this great story that one of the cool things about my teacher for my screen design class, he tells a lot of really great stories, and he was giving us rules yesterday. And he said, first thing, don't eat in class, don't drink at the workstations, and never, and this is just a general rule of decency, never tell one of your professors that you need an A.
Oh God, that would be horrible. I can't even imagine doing that.
He told us a story about this guy he had in his class. He also said don't sleep in class, and he told us about this kid that slept every day in class. But he told us about this guy who came
There's
up.
always that one kid for professors that sleeps every day in class and makes a good grade, because at our freshman convocation, somebody told it. Like, one of the speakers told us about that.
Oh, he didn't make a good grade.
Oh, never mind.
Anyway, he was telling us about this student that was like, Professor, I need an A. Can I talk to you sometime? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so he met with this kid, and first thing the kid said was, Professor, I need an A. And this is the second time he said it, and the professor was like, ooh, well, I need a Porsche. And the kid was like, no, Professor, I don't think you understand. I need this A. And he's like, yeah, I don't think you understand. I need a Porsche. And, it just kept going on like that until the kid was like, look, Professor, you don't understand. I need an A. And Carly was like, no, you don't understand. I need a fucking Porsche right now, and I'm 60. I like fast shit. And so the student ended up calling him an asshole and leaving, according to Carly, which was a great story that I want to storyboard and have someone voice act.
Close the door. What were you saying?
That was I want to get two people to voice act that for me, and then I want to storyboard it and make like a short animation of it. I would really love it if I could get Carly to record himself telling the story so I could make an animatic of it.
I don't understand how kids go in and say, hey, I need an A, thinking that the dang teacher gonna give you an A.
I know, like, I can understand being like, hey, what can I do to improve my grade, or being like, what can I improve on, but saying I need an A is like saying, I'm not willing to put the work in, but I want you to give it to me anyway.
Yeah, like, I can also understand somebody being like, I need an A, and I was just wondering what I can do better to be able to get one. Like that, like you said. Yeah, like, but somebody going in and just being like, look, I need an A. What the hell you think you doing, boy? Like, you back up right now. You back up and think about what you just said. Like, God. I don't know how people do that. It just doesn't make sense to me.
I don't either. It reminds me of, though it does remind me of last year in my Principles of 2D Animation class. And this was strictly for comedy. And, like, Weber was the one that chose this out of my 3 ideas. But you know, my final animation in that class, the flour sack, a box came up to the flour sack. The flour sack pulled out this note that said, and it shows it on the screen, I just want an A, and the flour sack says same, and crumples up the paper and throws it away. Like, and Weber chose that, and actually at that time Weber said, now if you did this, if you pitched this to any other teacher, they would probably lower your grade for it. And I was like, but I don't want it for an actual A, I just want it to be funny. And he's like, I can tell, which is why it's not going to lower your grade in my class.
Yeah. God. Get out of my room before I come out. Okay. Continue. What were you saying now?
That was kind of the end of the story. Just like Weber was like, if you did this for almost any other teacher, they would probably lower your grade. And I was like, but I just wanted it to be funny. And he's like, I know, that's why I want you to do it. And I was like, yes, good.
I'm glad.
Because, like, I wanted it to be funny because especially in 2D Principles, you work forever just hoping that it's good. So it's like, I just want an A. Not saying I need an A, or not being like, I want you to give me an A. Just, I want to end up with an A. And it was funny because it was a flour sack. And the flour sack's like, I got for those in chat who haven't seen this animation, I got Observant Shadow Demon, that Mun, and the Mun of it's the same one as of Dino Douchebaggery. I got him to voice act the flour sack. Just his deep, awesome voice going, same. It's the worst, especially now when I look at it, it's the worst animation ever, but I was so proud of myself getting someone to voice act it for me that I didn't care. Like, it's so cheesy. There are only 2 sounds in it, and one is the solid snake getting discovered sound of weep when the box hits it, and the other one is just Observant Shadow Demon going, same. He gave me like 15 different cuts of him saying same in different ways, and I had to pick one. It was pretty great. I wish I had a sound designer boyfriend or girlfriend, just so I could be like, yo, could you help me with the sound design for this? I have a general idea of what I want it to sound like, but I don't want to do it myself. Yeah. Sorry, I started dying. Yeah. I need to go to bed pretty soon because it's getting close to 11 over here, and I have my 8 a.m. So, but at least I can take a nap after it because I'm ahead of the class. Like, I don't know. I'm the type of person that's like, oh my god, I'm so behind, even though I'm on schedule with my work.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, especially today, like, I was working on my home...
No, I don't. Oh my god. My mom is like, hey, you have my air clips. And I'm like, no, I don't. I only have one.
Like, so tomorrow I have to talk to my, I don't have to, but I'm gonna talk to my, Foundation of Story teacher about my accommodations, which I haven't used since freshman year, but because it's such a writing and reading intensive class, I was really like, okay, I need to do this. And she was like, even in class, she was like, if you have accommodations, come talk to me at break and we'll set up an appointment. So I went up and talked to her and I was like, look, I have some accommodations, but I don't like using them. And she's like, okay, we can talk about them and you don't have to use them. They can just be a safety net if you do fall behind. I was like, yes, you are a good understanding teacher. So, but I was so freaked out because we have a writing assignment or a reading assignment due every class, which is why it was so important to her that we have that safety net. And today I was so petrified because I wasn't sure what to write. I had finished the reading yesterday right after class, which impressed myself, but I was so petrified of doing it wrong that I decided to reread it, because all we're doing is summarizing what we read. So I reread it and then wrote notes around what I read. And then when I couldn't get up the nerve to start typing, so I got my phone and got into the Google Doc and just recorded myself reading the notes I put on the side of the book until I had almost the right thing, and then I just edited it, and then I was like, why have I never done this before?
I mean, it's smart.
Yeah. Because there were a lot of mistakes that the book made, but my phone made, but it was like it got something down when I couldn't get the strength to type stuff. Because all I wanted to do was work on this. And actually, so, before I did this, I so, for my project for Digicel that's due on Thursday is I have to use the shape tween and Flash. And I want to, blow him away. I want to do something so amazing that it gets put on his A-list. And he, hires the expectation for me in the future where I end up failing because he knows I can do better. I want that kind of pressure on myself. So I storyboarded that out in a flash file before I started doing this, and that's due on Thursday. And this doesn't even have a due date yet. I'm just doing it because I fucking want to.
Oh my god.
I'm so excited. I feel like so on top of shit. I'm ready to kick this quarter's ass. Like, summer was so awful. I'm ready to show everyone what the fuck I'm made of.
Summer did kind of suck.
Yeah.
Like, we had fun, but it was still, it didn't go the way it should have.
Not at all. Like, really, my time with you was some of the best moments. Because, like, I knew towards the... And I was super excited about living with my aunt and uncle and the boys. And to an extent, that was great. I mean, I did get tired of them, but that's what happens when you live around little kids. It just is. And I didn't mind it. The whole thing that I had trouble adjusting to was the fire and having my granddad there, which only made the behavior of the twins worse because he's like a super defensive granddad that comes to the rescue of the babies. It's like, you gotta let the parents do their job, dude.
Yeah, grandparents are bad about spoiling kids.
And I love him to death, and I know he lost everything this summer, like every physical thing this summer. But it's just like, it got to a point towards the end before we got him situated that he would just be an asshole to everyone in the house and be super condescending. And he'd say stuff to my aunt, like he would empty the dishwasher, and when my aunt walks up, he'd be like, well, I just emptied your dishwasher. And it's like, no one asked you to do that, so if you're going to be an asshole about it, why don't you go back in your little room and sit there so your feet can heal and you can get the hell out of the house?
I mean, I totally understand you.
So,
Where is he staying
now there's a little trailer on the property that he's living in, and he's happier, and we're happier.
Yeah.
And,
See,
like...
I mean, here's just something about, like, if I had to live with my grandma, I feel like no, Grandma Ashley. No, not Grandma Goins. I feel like I could live with Grandma Goins and wouldn't mind. She's more like a mom.
Yeah.
Like, if I had to live with Grandma Ashley in the house, I feel like it'd be kind of a weird thing, and I'd get kind of tired of it after a while. Because, you know, like you said, it's one of those things where you love them to death, but, like, they've got those little qualities where they nag.
Yeah, it's because they're the elders in the family, and they expect things to be done a certain way. And they're not used to having to do it someone else's way. So,
Yeah.
it turns out, I can't remember what night exactly it was. You and I never spent like a full night together, so it was while I was in Tennessee seeing my cousins, okay? I heard about this when I got back. Apparently, my aunt and uncle, my mom and dad, my grandfather, all had dinner together, and my dad was tired of taking his shit, and apparently they had this huge explosive fight that went on for almost an hour.
Oh my god.
Like, according to my sources of my mom and everyone, to the point where things were being knocked over. And so, glad I was far away for that. But I think it kind of needed to happen, because my dad doesn't take shit. So, and he was the only one that could do that who wasn't living in the house.
Yeah.
So, and they're still fine. Like, they're not angry at each other now. I don't know. Apparently there's something, and I have to look out for it in the future, but apparently there's something. And it's probably not even in the blood, because, you know, my dad isn't blood related to my granddad. But there's something about that side of my family where fighting is just ingrained, and apparently it makes you feel better. And I hope I never get to that point, because I feel awful after fights. Like, I don't like the idea of exploding on someone.
It's just like fighting for justice.
like, fighting for justice, yes, but just, like, because it, like, the way Mom explained it is after everything that had been happening that built up to that, the actual fight was, like, a nothing fight. Like, the contents of the fight was a nothing fight. Like, not having jelly in the house.
Yeah.
Pulling that from someone else's comedy act and taking credit for it. But anyway, like, the emotion behind it was from real events, but the actual content was way bullshit. You know exactly what it's from. Shadow Monarch made a Merrick and Bakura thing with Yami Merrick saying the comedy act. I think you said it was Dan Cook, right? Dan Cook. I don't know people. I'm super useless when it comes to people.
Nobody thinks he's funny. Like, nobody thinks he's funny.
I think everyone is funny, so...
I think he's so funny. I love him, and that's like an unpopular opinion these days, because, like, nobody likes Dan Cook. Dan Cook does some bad stuff, but, like, he's hilarious.
You should not tonight, because I'll have to go to bed in a few minutes, / whenever I stop drawing. But you should link me some of his comedy acts one day, because I bet I'd like him. Because I love offensive humor.
Your phone? Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, like, his comedy acts are really good. I will say that there is some stuff in, like, his comedy is, like, the kind of comedy that's good for people who, like shitposts.
Yeah.
at points. Like, but at the same time, he can also be kind of sexist and stuff, but at the same time, it's kind of weird. I don't know how to react to Dan Cook completely just because he's kind of a weird thing.
I mean... the guy who I posted the clip of on Facebook who does the Trump act, a lot of his jokes are sexist. And one of his things, especially in the comedy act where he talked about Donald Trump, and he's like, you know, so many people don't get that it's an act up here. They think I actually mean what I say when I talk about women being bitches and needing to do what I say. My wife tells me everything to do. She doesn't take shit from me.
It's like, she doesn't take that.
And she's not an idiot because she's a woman. She's an idiot for other reasons. Like not believing in vaccinations.
Oh my god.
Like that's part of his comedy. Like, so it's like, I don't know. Some people may mean what they say in comedy, but for the most part I take it all with a grain of salt and you should be fine.
Yeah, like, they're pretty good. Like, there's one about Burger King where they're talking about somebody coming through the drive-thru and, like, either not talking too loud or talking too loud.
I've heard that one. There's a this is from way back in my weeaboo days. There's a Sonic video about that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. That's one of my favorites. To this day, that's one of my favorite comedy acts.
That is the one where it's like, and the pickles.
And the pickles.
And the pickles. Yes. That's it. Good.
It's the best.
Yep. Oh my god. I feel like you're my best friend, and I feel like we just connected on a whole new level.
Pneumonia virus terrified after remembering what Clinton is capable of. What? See, like, I love seeing stuff about, like, Hillary Clinton, like, making fun of her and making fun of Trump. Like, because I hate both of the candidates this year, personally.
Like, I liked Hillary a lot more before the election started. I feel like she's, like, really trying to make herself appealing to us, but not really. Because, like, I feel like, and this is just me personally, and I'm fine with it if anyone disagrees. Experience-wise, I think she is the most qualified for the job in the sense because she's worked on it from a local level, state level, and national level. But I don't completely believe she's going to be a good president. I feel like she would have when we didn't have some of these issues we did now when she ran against Obama the first time. But now I don't have the same ideals. Well, I do have most of the same ideals, but they're more formed because I'm an adult now. But the thing about that is, she's better than the alternative of Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Which is why I will fight for her right to be the first woman president.
Yeah, and I wish it wasn't her that was the first woman president, honestly. Like, I just don't think she's the one that should be. You know?
Yeah.
But, like, I'd be okay if a third party won, which I don't think they will. If a third party won, but...
They say this is the highest chance for a third party to win since, like, the last time a third party won.
First time that a third party is going to be on the ballot since, like, going to be on the ballot in every state since, like, 5 ever ago. Like, and it's going to be Gary Johnson. He's the more left-leaning third party. I personally like Jill Stein a little bit more. I mean, the thing for me is I took like the very in-depth version of the who you side with quiz, and it tells you what, like, political candidate you agree with most. I agree with Hillary Clinton on 94% of issues. But there is a fundamental area of morality and the things she has done that I don't agree with. And I don't want to vote for her for that reason. And a lot of people are like, oh, if you vote for a third party, it's a vote for Trump. If you vote for a third party, it's a vote for Hillary. I'm like, nope, it's not. It's a vote for a third party. Sorry to burst your bubble, but that's how this works.
I hate when people say that. They're like, voting for a third party is like throwing away a vote or voting for the person you don't want. It's like, but I want the third party one.
Yeah. It's so stupid when people say that. To me, it just shows the sheer amount of idiocy that they have, and like the sheer amount of like, or the amount of how uninformed they are. That's all it shows me. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, if you want to be real, if you're in Alabama, your vote doesn't matter anyway, because this state is always going to go to the Republicans because votes aren't awarded proportionally. They should be, but they're not.
Did you hear that Texas is actually bordering to become a swing state this election, though?
Oh, I didn't hear that. Like, inform me.
So this is secondhand knowledge, but my friend, I can't remember if it's my new roommate or one of my friends in my class that's from Texas, and they were talking about how we were having a short conversation about politics, but not like in depth. And they were talking about how this whole thing with Donald Trump has caused more voters to be willing to vote for Hillary in Texas, almost to the point where the numbers are high enough for it to go either way.
Ooh.
So for the first, and because Texas has pretty good amount of points, it's gonna be one of the swing states instead of just a red state.
That's cool.
I don't know if it's gonna stay that way, but that's what it looks like right now.
I like thinking about, like, the whole conspiracy stuff behind Donald Trump's presidency. Like, it's possibly like a whole thing by the Clintons to be able to, like, get into office. Because I could see that happening. I'll be real with you. I could see that happening with how good of friends they were.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be a relief if Donald Trump didn't actually have those views. But at the same time, that would also pave the way for somebody who does have those views to, like, rise to power.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of like, I hope it just ends with Trump. But like,
We're going to see Reggie Benjamin 2 days after Mom's birthday.
what'd you say?
We need to go see Reggie Benjamin and Corn and Motionless Light and Silver Snakes. 2 days.
From where? Where? Okay. Close my door! Close my door! Close the door in this house.
I can't wait till you get into an apartment. Or into the dorms. At this point, even into the dorms.
See, like, we already bought the apartment, and I'm just like, God, I want to move in already. Like, dang.
Oh, you have the apartment now?
Yeah, we finally got it.
Good.
I'm glad we've got it. But at the same time, I'm like, dang, we can move in already. See, my mom was already talking about it. She's like, I'm going to come down there every weekend and clean. And I'm like, excuse you? No, you're not. Like,
You can make me clean my own house like people with homes do.
the thing about me and cleaning, and you know this, I keep my stuff clean when I'm not around them. Like, it's like there's something in my brain that switches when I'm not around my family. And I become a more clean person. And I have a desire to keep things clean. Like, but when I'm around my family, this house is such a mess that there's just no point. You know?
Yeah.
And one of the things that really gets me about this dang house is I'll put, like, let's say I'm organizing my room, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put every blue pencil in a drawer and every pink pencil in the drawer. And that's how they're going to be separated. I know where they are and everything. She'll come in. She'll move the entire dresser that all those pencils are in, opens the drawer with the pencils, takes all the pencils out, puts them in one bin, and is like, now your pencils are together. And I'm like, I didn't want that. Like one, you moved the cabinet somewhere else, and you moved the pencils, and defeated the entire purpose of what I was doing in the first place. Like, I put things where I put things to be able to find them.
Right.
Like, I don't, and that's a really big problem with everybody in this house. They come in and they start moving other people's stuff. And I'm like, don't come in moving my stuff. I've got books, I've got papers and stuff that I need left alone. I don't want my stuff touched. I don't want anybody to touch my stuff. I want it left alone. It's been touched enough while I've lived here. I just want it left alone. I want to be able to control all of my stuff myself. And I'm just desperately hoping that that's what happens. Because I can't deal with this anymore. There's so much stuff that gets lost around here, and I'm like, it costs me money. Like, there was I bought a $50 Surface Stylus. And I've got 2 of them now. But there's a third one somewhere in this house. I bought it, and it came in a black package. And I sat it in the living room behind, where did I sit it? I sat it in the living room behind the lamp, and I said, nobody touch this. This is my Surface Stylus. I'm waiting for the cord to come in, and when the cord comes in, this stylus goes with it. Okay?
And someone moved it.
Yeah. And I still haven't found it to this day. I had to pay $50 for another one of these. And I'm like, why? It's not even that hard. All you have to do is not put your hands on something. It's not even that difficult.
Yeah. That happens sometimes around my house too. Like, Mom will think she's helping, and then because like, this happened with my first binder, and I think it's also happened with my second one, because I couldn't find it when I was packing, unless I packed it earlier in the summer and didn't notice. She tries to help, so she'll wash my clothes for me. But the problem with that, with the first binder, is I had a white one, and Dad had a lot of white tank tops. So what I assume happened to it, and what Mom has pretty much confirmed happened to it, is that Dad picked it up thinking it was his. He tried to put it on. It wouldn't fit because I'm smaller than him, and he threw it away.
I could see it. You're right.
And so, and it's like, and I had shown them when I got it, I called it, look, this is my no boobs tank top. That's what I called it, so they'd know what it was. But
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those things that if it gets put somewhere, nobody's going to think, hey, this is somebody else's tank top. This is just a too small tank top that doesn't fit anymore.
yeah,
Yeah. That sucks.
it does. I don't know. The new
I
one.
hate when people move other people's stuff, for real.
Me too. It's like, could you just not touch it? I'm trying.
I mean, it's not even that hard.
That was another thing. My mom and I had a little fight on the way to the beach. She was like, I was hoping your room would be like, this was like 3 days before so we left for our beach trip on Saturday and met my dad Sunday, and then we went down to the beach. And then we stayed there for 3 days, and then we came home for a day, and then we moved the next day.
Yeah.
So I was home, like, after we had our time together, I was home, like, one more day, and that was it. And before we went for the beach, Mom was like, I wish you had finished enough so the cleaners could clean your room. And she was like, I guess they'll clean it anyway. And I was like, no, I left a note for them not to touch it because I'm packing my whole life away, and I don't need things to go missing right before I have to finish packing. And she was like, but I don't want to pay for another week after you're gone. And I'm like, well, you don't have to pay for this week because they're not cleaning my room.
Yeah.
So, and she eventually understood it from my perspective, but at first she was like, I wish you had just done this. And it's like, but I'm about to move my whole life away.
Yeah. Like, did you, like, actually leave stuff there or something? Or was that you were coming back after the beach trip and that's when?
On the way to the beach. Like, I had almost finished packing, but my room was a wreck, and I still had stuff to pack. And, like, we got back from the beach trip we got back Wednesday night we got back to Huntsville Wednesday night around 2 a.m., and we came back home on Thursday, and then we left for Savannah Friday.
Yeah.
So I only had, like, less than 24 hours to finish packing all that stuff.
Yeah.
So
there's just stuff at your house that you were saying that nobody needs to touch.
yeah, like, for instance, I hadn't finished packing my bedding and all of my books and stuff. Like, there were things that were still out that I didn't want moved because I had emptied out drawers, and I didn't want them to come in and try and organize everything, because then I'd have to go back through the stuff I already went through to find stuff again.
Yeah.
Like, I knew where everything I needed was, and I didn't need it to be moved.
Yeah, that's understandable. I hate that's just a pet peeve. Like, I'm a firm believer in, like,
Did I lose you?
yeah, I was feeling. Oh.
So, like, okay, it was, being in Savannah, I live next to the beach and have for 2 years, and this is the first time I've been to the beach since I've moved here, and it wasn't even this beach. So the first day, it was a lot of fun, because it was super wavy because of Hurricane Hermine, or Tropical Storm Hermine, which is kind of an awful thing to be like, thank God for Tropical Storm Hermine. But it was so much fun because I love waves. The second day, the water was super murky, and I got stung on the first day, so the sting didn't happen this day. But there were fish everywhere. Like, every time I stop, all of a sudden I'd feel stuff swimming around me, and I had goggles, so I'd swim under and play with the fish, and my mom was like, stuff's around my feet, and I'm like, look at the little fish. And then, but it was, like, super, like, silty, and you couldn't see very well. But then by day 3, and this was our last day in the water, it was that wonderful Gulf of Mexico water that was so clear you could see down to the bottom.
Awesome.
And you could see the fish around your feet. without going under with goggles. And then I went under with goggles. And I met this I caught one in a net, and then I met this lady who lives in Atlanta, and we had a long conversation about The Walking Dead because she doesn't actually live in Atlanta. She lives in a city like 2 hours or less south of Atlanta where they film The Walking Dead. And we had a long conversation because I do animation, so we just talked about stuff forever. And then I reached under the sand and I felt something soft. So I pulled my hand back and then I dug it out because it felt like one of those pool shoes. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
It felt like that. And so I pulled out this sea cucumber that looks like... It looks like a turd with lots of pieces of corn in it.
Yeah.
And
you know they out their lungs to defend themselves.
Huh?
You know that sea cucumbers part out their lungs to defend themselves.
That is disgusting. I think that's what I think there's a Pokemon there's going to be a Pokemon in Sun and Moon that does that though.
Yeah, there is. There totally is.
Yeah. I pulled it out and I was disgusted. And Mom looked at it and she's like, "What is that?" I'm like, "I think it's a sea cucumber." And so we got the net and we pulled it out of the water and it started curling and uncurling. I didn't get to see its lungs, but it started curling and uncurling. And then we just let it back down. And then the lady we had met and my mom found a jellyfish, so they caught that in the net, and I headed for shore.
Did you see the sea cucumber spit out anything white?
No, not even.
That was in its lungs.
Not even remotely. It just curled and uncurled itself trying to get back under the water.
Gross.
It looked like a turd with little pieces of corn in it.
They're disgusting.
I'm disgusting.
No, they're disgusting.
Oh. I thought you said you're disgusting, and I was like, it's not my fault. I thought it was someone who lost a shoe.
Sea cucumbers are just disgusting things. Like, in general, they're so gross.
I thought it was going to be poisonous when I touched it. I was like, not again.
Not again. Not now.
Not today. It's the last day.
So I just read an article about the U.S. flying B-1 bombers over South Korea in show of force, because North Korea did like nuclear weapons testing, and they're like third most powerful nuclear weapons testing. And, they've been like shooting off a couple missiles towards Japan because North Korea is like angry at Japan still, because for them,
the war's not over.
Yeah, the war's not over. Like, that's exactly what...
I don't know if I think they were at war at some point, but I don't remember.
Oh, no, like, for some reason, freaking North Korea, like, their whole thing is they're like, every year, it's like the Korean War never ended for them. They don't even understand that it's over. South Korea does not want to be part of North Korea. No shape, form, or fashion. Like, and the only reason we haven't gone in there and just wiped out what's going on is because they've got nuclear weapons. And we're like, well, if they fire nuclear weapons, now we're fucked because they're like on the border of one of our allies. And South Korea's definitely going to be pissed if they get hit with nuclear weapons.
Damn it, America, if we get blown up by nuclear bombs.
Yeah, like, but North Korea, but the U.S. flew B-1 bombers over South Korea to show, hey, you screw with us, we will bomb the ever-loving crap out of you. It's like there are four, I think it's the fifth and possibly most powerful weapons test, and they've been aiming them at, like, Japan, so it's like they're throwing shade at Japan, nuclear shade. They're throwing shade at Japan if they won't say it to their face. Like, they haven't screwed with us yet, but the U.S. is like, you try it and you're done. Like, how about you say that to my face? Like,
how do you draw someone running away?
You don't. draw them standing their ground because running away is weak.
Well, it's like she's not running away. She's running to the house.
Yeah.
But, like, it's probably because it's too late for me to be working on this, and my brain is like, yo, stab it.
We had a conversation today in my political science class, comparative politics, where we were talking about how international law is pretty much pointless and unenforceable.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds really, like, I mean, you understand that that's legitimately a thing because you know, but like, it's kind of ridiculous how much they are, because like international law, the more I think about it, I'm like, oh my god, like, the UN literally passes legislation and there is no actual enforcement or penalty for breaking it. Like, North Korea is shooting nuclear missiles at Japan, and all the UN can do is go, tisk tisk, don't do that again, and that's it. I'm like, are you serious? Like, I mean, I know earlier I was talking about, like, we don't need to fund war and stuff, and we really don't, but, like, to an extent, now that we've involved ourselves in international politics, I mean, it is our duty to help our allies, and that's why we should have never become a nationalist nation in the first place. I mean, it's kind of impossible to function if you're not, but, like, we've become so heavily, like, international that there's no way we can go back to being, you know, isolationist.
Yeah.
Like, South Korea has been dealing with North Korea for so long, and it just, the thing that really ticks me off, I guess, is like, why didn't we see this coming? Why didn't we go in and take North Korea? Like, I don't understand it. I'm like, you've got one of our, like, I mean, they're not our most powerful, but you've got some of our biggest allies on the border of North Korea, and they're the ones that are in the most danger. I mean, of course, we patrol the border. Did you know that there's a fake village set up on either side of the border where, like, they just blast propaganda at South Korea?
What, North Korea blasting it?
Yeah, and we blast it right back, but, like, they blast propaganda all day long. North Korea is, like, in global health, we were looking at a list of the most corrupt nations. And this is what I was talking about earlier, how Americans are really, really disillusioned with society. Like, out of every country in the world, we're, like, the 13th least corrupt.
That's
like,
pretty good.
We're not as corrupt as people think we are. Which is weird, you know, and I know it's just like...
It's funny how... This is actually pretty ironic. It's funny how our media and politicians use corruption as a way to corrupt and manipulate people, even though we're not that corrupt.
Yeah, like, we were looking at it, and our global health teacher, she asked us before she showed us that slide, and she was like, where do you think the U.S. stands on being corrupt? And people were like, I think we're at least like the 25th most corrupt. I think we're like, you know, and they started saying stuff like, oh, I think we're corrupt. I think we're super corrupt. Stuff like that. And she went through and she looked it over, and she was like, the top two nations that aren't corrupt are Denmark and New Zealand. Which are like the best places ever to live. Hold on 1 second. I'm gonna click over to this.
I have to go to bed soon. Would you like to say a send-off with me?
Yeah, sure.
This has been Minstreaming homework assignments for, I don't know, 3 hours, which I didn't expect when I started. So I might put this on YouTube. You know, they love the watch time. If someone wants to watch it, they can. It's not like I finished anything. Let's see. I got a couple of pretty nice drawings. Let's look at these drawings. Let's take a good look at these drawings, okay?